this? What is hell? We heard people talk about it. When we were growing up, a lot of people found fear in it. A lot of people used it. Some of the elders would used it. They used this as a fear monger to threaten the youth, including with whatever this place would have been. So what is this? What is hell? Or what the hell? What was hell supposed to be in the beginning? And what is it now? Is it a real thing? We're going to get to all that. We're going to get to what is it? Where is it? Who is it? Who is there? How to avoid it? All of that. So the first thing I want to deal with is simply what it is. So in society, people believe that hell is something like this. They'll get this image in their mind, and they'll see this fiery place, and they'll see this man that's supposed to have horns, all right, and a pitchfork or trident, all right, and then there's supposed to be people here that are supposed to have been going through some type of torment because they did bad things. That's what most people think hell is, and that's what most people are going to think hell is, especially if they don't watch videos like these. So if you want to put somebody on game, make sure you copy and paste this link and send it to them, especially when we get to the end of all of this, right? So that's what most people think hell is, a place of fire where everybody goes to get tormented, that's overseen by some man standing there with a pitchfork. Now, then you have people who went past Christianity and they were like, you know what? I don't believe in these things anymore. I want to do things for myself. And they started just looking at hell as more of a quote unquote lower state of the self, or a place on earth, or things that you can deal with in real time, like chaos in your life and things like that. So they move further and further away from there being a possibility of you having to be sent somewhere to either be purged or tormented, ripped apart and put back together and brought into a new life, depending on what religion you would be a part of. They moved away from that and they went more so hell is inside, or hell is just in the mind. And I want to deal with that because a lot of people have just ended with that statement on themselves and say, you know what, hell is just in the mind. Hell isn't real. It's not a place. It's just a state. Okay, so y'all see people say state. Don't say hell is only a state, right? Now, if they were saying state as in a condition, that would make sense. If you're saying state as in a type of existence, that'll still make sense. But if you're saying that it's only in people's mind, meaning it's merely a thought, and that there exists no type of realm where people could be sent or are existing in right now, then here's the truth behind that. You do not know that. If anybody says at this point in time, hell is only a state, make sure you tell them this. You don't have to argue. You don't have to fuss and fight and debate your belief systems. Start with this. You do not know that. And if they want to negate that they don't know that, before you walk off from it, if they're not willing to build in the conversation, just remind them that in order for them to know that hell is only a state and that there is no such place in the universe, multiverses, super ultraverses that would be called hell or a place like that, then they themselves would have had to traverse every single dimension, traveled every single realm, and met up with and talked to every single leader or guardian or any of that all around the universe. So they would have had to explore, at this point in time, they would have had to have explored the entire universe, and they haven't done that. So simply enough, they have never, ever, 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 ever done that. So they cannot have that answer. They don't know that answer. You understand that? So you do not know that. Is hell a state? It can be seen as a state. Is there an actual location where people are sent after they cross over, or taken to after they cross over? You wouldn't know that unless you've been there yourself. And now, again, we're into these classes speaking about astral projection and things like that. Through astral projection, just maybe you'll be able to have certain experiences, okay, like I have, that'll allow for you to see certain places or experience certain places and experience certain things and certain beings that let you know, no, these people aren't getting it from nowhere. Not the ones who wrote the Bible. And first of all, we got to just deal with the fact that it's not just the biblical people who talk about hell. Okay, and a lot of people don't understand to what extent the Bible talks about hell, because it speaks about different types of fires and occurrences where fire will be present and Hades and all that. We'll get into it. But first, I want to deal with hell history. So the history of hell, meaning what do they say the word was used as in different forms and different places at different times? What has it been recorded to have been used to represent or to be a place of and things like that? So it's not just, again, it's not just the Christians. You had the Egyptians. The Egyptians believed in hell and wrote about hell. The Egyptians, of course, the Christians. Who else? You have the Muslims, okay, and the Yiddish or the Jewish, all right? And you still, to this day, have people talking about it as the scientists, okay? Because what do the scientists say are in the middle of the earth or is in the middle of the earth? The scientists explain that in the middle of the earth, you have what's referred to as the core. All right. And that core isn't necessarily a fire. They really will say it's more dense in the actual inner circle or the inner core. The actual inner core is dense. It's made of iron and nickel. But around that, the surrounding parts of that outer core is the magma or the molten magma, that lava type substance. You understand? So that is burning and it's dense and it's intense. Like it ain't just it's just molten and it's liquid. No, it's intense, like packed in with pressure. You understand? So that would be that quote unquote fiery realm beneath the crust or beneath the surface, literally. So even scientists talk about it. Now, do they talk about it in the same manner of or in the same way as there are people that are there? No, they don't talk about that. However, there's still a place or a location. So if these people, these places, right, where these people were talking about these places as a realm of fire or as a realm of lava or whatever they want to call it at that time, or Hades or whatever, hellfire, then they were still on point as far as the location, okay, being under your feet. And under is still based on your perspective, okay, as a human being walking the surface of the earth. But under your feet, leagues beneath it, would be that core. And that core would be that fire in the center, quote unquote. Now, again, not exactly a fire as in a substance burning, okay, or something burning, but it would be that fire in the center as in molten lava and things like that, okay, or the core. So another group of people who believed in it would be the Greek or the Greeks. They believed in it. That's where you get all the Hades stories and things like that that wound up seeping over into people's belief systems and biblical references and things like that. Okay, so when we go through hell history, what do the Egyptians say? The Egyptians say there's an underworld. The Christians talk about an underworld, Sheol, the grave beneath the surface. The Muslims talk about it. You know, even though Islam came after Christianity, they still all believe in it. And Muslims talk about Jahannam. All right. Or not just Jahannam, they'll talk about Nar. And Nar was speaking about a fire. Okay. So you have the Muslim, the Jew, even the Jewish or the Yiddish, they speak about it. And when you go and look into it, you'll find that Jahannam, as the Muslims say in Islam, is also said by those who are Jewish as Jahannam. And you'll find Jahannam, okay, biblical references of some place that was supposed to have been a place for corpses to go. And when the corpses get burned there, okay, so it is also translated as, or transliterated as, and interpreted as a place where people would be burned after they leave, a place of death or eternal damnation. Okay, so it's not just the place, because they used to use that place to sacrifice children and things like that. It's not just that place. It was actually saying this place would be a placeholder for that realm called hell. And it's, again, translated as Jahannam. So the Jewish or the Yiddish say Jahannam, okay? And the Muslims say Jahannam. You understand that? And the Greeks talk about the underworld also in Hades, and it's overseen by Hades. And then again, we got those scientists. So it's all, and the Egyptians talk about Duat all of that, the underworld, afterlife, everything like that. So it's not just something that the Christians popped out with out of nowhere. It's been around for a long time. You understand that? So again, I know it's a conversation that people might be afraid of, but you really need to know what it is you're speaking about before we move forward. Now we get deeper into it as we go, but I want to make sure that that's clear. So hell wasn't something that somebody made up in the Christian community. Hell wasn't something that people were only talking about in certain newer religions or new age religions. It's been spoken about ever since they started to record stories about reality altogether. You understand? So that's what we get into. What is hell? Hell is supposed to be some type of place that people are sent to for them to either have redemption or to receive their quote unquote reward, which is a punishment that we talked about the other day. There's a reward and then there's punishment. Okay, so you got the reward, which is a punishment, and that is you basically have to pay for what you did. All right, and they have different places that they send people to for that. So other ways they'll say it. You got hell, you have Sheol or Sheol, you have the pit. So when people talk about the pit, okay, you have Hades, all right, you have the underworld, okay, you have Duat, you have Naraka. Naraka is Hindu. Okay, so when you speak about the different worlds, because we'll talk about that too, different world setups, all right, different leagues and dimensions and planes and realms. All right, one of the lower planes that's associated with Hinduism and Buddhism and Jainism is Naraka. And Naraka is, again, a place like hell. For as you see that word Nar right there when you look at it, Naraka. And remember, Nar means fire. Okay, and this word raka right here is speaking of, like, if you say it in I think it's Aramaic, okay, you'll say it as a fool. Like one of those, I think it was the book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 22. You go and read that. It speaks that it was warning people, yo, don't say to you, anybody who says to their brother, you know, when they angry or annoyed, raka. And people, what does that mean? It's basically saying you're a fool or you're worthless. Okay, so it's almost as if they're saying those who go to this fire were the foolish ones. And who were the foolish ones? Those who follow the lowly. And the lowly would have been known as Iblis or the devil or Shaitan, Satan, whoever. And that goes into the Quran. Because in the Quran, Shaitan or Iblis was saying, since you caused me to be of the lowly, I'm surely going to lead everybody that's in the earth plane astray. And Allah was saying, okay, you can do that. And if you're going to read Quran chapter 15 or Surah 15, okay, 15 verse 44 is when they mention the gate number. We'll talk to that too, because you'll see the different levels. They say 7 gates. But in that whole chapter, Surah, Quran, Surah 15, they were saying that since you called, Iblis said, since you caused me to be in error, I'm going to lead them astray. And Allah was like, okay, if you lead them astray, then they can go ahead and be with you, but you won't have any dominion over my servants. People who will be with me, they're not going to follow you anyway. And then the ones who walk with me and they find their way and they hold on to the rope will be in paradise. Will be in what they call Jannah. And then they said the ones who didn't, that they'll be able to go with Iblis and they'll be in hell, okay, or hellfire, Jahannam, Nar. And they say it has 7 gates. And they said every group of all those people would be designated to each or one of each of the 7 gates. Okay, keep in mind that Quran also speaks about, or the Quran also speaks about 7 higher levels of samawati. Okay, and sama is to say a heaven. So we say samawati. Okay, samawat is saying plural heavens, and there are seven of those that Allah had created. So if you were to draw it as a diagram, you would put 7 up here, and the earth plane would be here. And then the 7 lower levels, or the 7 hells would be, or the 7 gates of hell specifically, would be beneath the earth plane, Ardu or Ard, okay, earth. You understand that? So you have Samawat, you have Jahannam, and then you have Ard. So let's go ahead and put the Ard, Samawat, and then you have Nar or Jahannam. You see that? So the thought is most people are going to end up here. Again, you do it as a pyramid and you'll see who goes where, right? That's your whole diagram right there, or livogram if you want to call it that. But most people will end up in Nar, in the fire. That ain't something that's even just got to be looked at as a spiritual thing. Because even this right here, this word right here, Inflammation, inflammation in the body, excess inflammation, issues, all of that, that is hell. That's another version of it, inflammation. You understand? If you look at the word itself, inflammare, guess what it means? Inflammare. It means to set on fire. Okay? So when someone's dealing with inflammation in real time, they're set on fire. Interestingly enough, let me give you a gem. If I say this word right here, ides or ides, what does that sound like? Heides or Hades. So we say ides. This word right here also is dealing with fire. Literally go look it up. It means to inflame. Okay? So if they say arthritis or they say bronchitis, they put that ides on the end to represent fire and flame. So Hades or ides is saying the same thing phonetically similarly. Okay? And then you can find ides or Hades being associated with flames in the book of Luke 17. No, Luke chapter 16. The book of Luke chapter 16 speaks about a place where people would go, right? Like, okay, the story was Lazarus and the rich man. All right, that's a parable. So in the story of Lazarus and the rich man, you had, let's say, a man lived in a kingdom as a king, okay? And he was able to eat good, live good, do all those things. And then you had Lazarus who sat outside of those gates and he was poor. All right. And they said he only had the company of dogs and the dogs would stand around and wait and lick his sores. Okay. And he only received comfort when the dogs would lick his sores because he was suffering and poor and couldn't eat and he was waiting on food. And they said this man, the rich man, lived deliciously. Okay, so he was able to benefit during life, receiving the goods and the pleasures and the delight of the illusionary world, and he suffered during it. Okay, and then both of them passed away. And when both of them passed away, there was a separation. Pay attention. One went to a realm called Hades, and one went to a realm called Paradise. And when this one, Lazarus, went to Paradise, he ended up meeting and coming across Abraham, okay? And Abraham was making sure that he was guided along to be where he's supposed to be in paradise. As they were traveling, and there was a separation between them, so they weren't able to cross over into the realms. That's what they called a chasm, okay? So as they were traveling, the one who was the rich man, the king, was in flames. He was literally in fire, and he was calling out to Abraham, okay? Similar to what the Muslim people believe happened according to Al-Quran when it comes to the world of Nar or the realm of Nar. You read that, we talk about that in Surah 43, verse 77, where I think they were calling out, and again, you got to go fact check me, but they were calling out asking that Malik, the being called Malik or Melik, and Melik is the angel of hell, guardian of hell. He the one they say, if you see him, he like this. He this emoji. He don't have no emotion. He doesn't understand sorrow. He can't comprehend or empathize or sympathize on any type of level. He can only do what Allah commanded him to do, according to what they say. So Malik is the angel or Malaika, interestingly enough, over Jahannam. Okay, and I think he's partnered with Zebaniah. The Zebaniah is what they call the angels of hell. What over it is 19. I think it's 19 angels altogether. But he's the main one, the overseer of hell. And they can't, when he activates his being and he starts to crack open and calls for certain things to come through, and people get their reward or they get their judgment, their punishment, you can't do nothing about it. There's nothing that can be done because he isn't even programmed. He's not wired to be able to empathize or feel sympathy. So they call it out and say, yo, we don't want to be, and they say, how people say that they'll seek death and death will flee from them. I think that's biblical. Okay, it's similar in Al-Quran where they say, yo, they would call out to Malik, call on Allah, call on your Lord and tell him to end us. Like, this shit is too painful. Tell him to come and just kill us. And Malik said to them, no, you're surely here to stay. Like, that would, go read it. You go see what that nigga said. No, you're here to stay. This is permanent. So he would tell them or respond to them, ain't nothing that could be done, basically. So this man who was supposed to have been a rich man in this parable of Lazarus and a rich guy, or Lazarus and a rich man, was calling out to Abraham. And he was like, yo, send Lazarus over here. Tell him to dip his finger in that water and come over here and touch my tongue because I'm over here, I'm burning up. Okay, you go read this in the book of Luke chapter 16. He said, I'm burning up. Come and just tell him to touch my tongue with the water so I can remember what that water is like because this hellfire is too much. And Abraham was like, nah, like this what you wanted. You lived deliciously while you were living. You didn't want to take responsibility or accountability for your actions, your soul. You didn't want to do any of that while you had the opportunity. So now this is what you got to go through. You have to be purged. You have to be cleansed this way. And by fire, they cleansing them. So he was like, you know what? How about this? Okay, I'm damned. Tell Lazarus, send Lazarus back to go and warn my family. Like the Quran was explaining to make sure you warn your family, warn your people about a fire whose fuel is people and stones. So he was telling people to warn people. So he was saying, go and warn my family, tell them because they don't know that this is real. And Abraham was like, okay, I know you want me to tell them that. I know you want me to send them for that. But we already sent them people. We sent them Moses. We sent them these prophets. So if they're not going to listen to the prophets, then, ain't no reason for us to send. If they ain't going to listen to them and they going to do all these miracles and all this stuff, ain't no point in us sending Lazarus back because they ain't going to believe it. You see what I'm saying? And they left them there. So according to these stories, if his time ain't up, the rich guy's still dealing with that fire to this day. Okay, so my point is they do align Hades with hellfire. You just got to know where to find it. Go look in the book of Luke chapter 16. So again, Hades, all that's speaking about inflammation. And people are dealing with inflammation now. When people have their diseases, okay, or they deal with their ailments, all right, the main cause is that inflammation. All right, the main association with that ailment or disease is inflammation. You with me? So when people need to find relief, they need that same type of water. And the main thing is, okay, like when I was learning how to be an auto sales consultant, I talked to y'all about that, I think I did. And we had to read the salesperson's Bible, all this stuff, and the book that the brother had given me to help me learn more about sales. One of the main things that I was taught was about short-term, if you can remember this, short-term pain, okay, long-term gain. Long-term gain. And it was the reverse for the opposite because you got two options you can do in life. You can go short-term pain, long-term gain, or you can do short-term gain for long-term pain. Okay, it seems like stories like that, they're trying to give people a warning of a sort. You could take care of your health now. It may not be fun, but you'll be able to benefit from it later. You go to the gym now. It may not be fun, but you'll benefit from it later. Or you can feel like everything's delicious now. Everything is good now. You can just rest, relax, and you don't have to take care of the things you need to take care of. And then you'll pay for it in the end. So it seems like it's the same story over and over again that people are saying, do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right thing, which is why they were saying that hell is designated for the wrongdoers. Okay? It don't mean that somebody's sitting there judging you. Let's look at it like this. If the ride says you have to be a certain amount of weight, okay, and anytime you go over that weight, you can't get on the ride. Okay, let's say I want to get in a helicopter with some people. They have to, each of those people, they'll tell you they can't be past 280 pounds. Each person. If they are, then that'll be an issue. Each passenger has to be this amount of weight. Okay, cool. So then my point is, if you're over that weight, that ain't nobody trying to condemn you or judge you. That's just the scientific reality that it would not benefit the system at all. It will throw things out of order if you would have board onto this plane, or if you would have board onto this ride, if you would have board onto this helicopter. You see what I'm saying? So you have to go and work that off. You have to lose weight or you won't be able to ascend. It's just that simple. So if they're doing things like the weighing of the heart ceremony, where they literally had something called the weighing of the heart, all right, in ancient Egypt, the weighing of the heart ceremony is that same principle, that if whatever your heart would be, if that's too heavy and it weighs more than a feather, that feather is used to do what? To ascend. So then you would descend. So naturally, when you exit your body, okay, according to these stories, if you were to exit your body, you yourself would descend. And then there are lords of those lower worlds, Okay, in Hinduism, they call it lokas. A loka is a world. So you have the higher loka, okay, or the urva, and then you have earth, which is buloka, and then you have adho. Adho is like this, the lower lokas. Okay, again, that's illustrated similarly to this. All right, so this would be the urva, okay, urva, and this would be the buloka, earth, and this would be adho. You see what I'm saying? And then there are higher levels, 7, and then there are lower levels, 7. Well, this is actually added in, which is interesting to me. This is one of the higher 7 levels, and then you got the rest of those. Okay? But the point being, if you were to descend, because you got certain beings like the Lord Jama. Lord Jama, you have the Jama Dutas. Okay, it's spelled like this. Jama. You have Jamadutas. Jamadutas have a duty. And their duty is that after you leave this reality or after you leave that body, they reach and they grab you. Okay? And if you were too dense, they pull you down and you got to deal with beings like Lord Jama. And Lord Jama designates you to different places or corridors or dorms in Noraka or the realm of hell. You see what I'm saying? So similar to Satan or similar to Malik or similar to Hades or whoever. There are lords over these worlds. So once you find yourself in their world, it's because that's what you bought. That's the ticket that you purchased. And you purchase your tickets through your actions according to what these things teach. Now, Faze, you keep saying, according to this, according to that. I thought you told me you were going to tell me what you know. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what I know. I didn't know these words, okay? These words have been used to describe these things and that wasn't the knowing for me because I can just have a bunch of words in my recollection. That doesn't mean I know a thing. So I want to walk you through that first, just so you have some type of foundation of what it is we're speaking on before we move forward. Okay, so not only do we have the places, we went through the history of the different types of people that use it. All right, we went through the different words of what they call it, hell, Sheol, all of that. Let's deal with some of their lords. So we do have Lord Jama, like we just spoke of, Lord Jama. All right, in ancient Egypt, this is Hindu. Okay, Lord Jama, Egyptian. You have who? You have Anubis, okay, or Ampu, if you want to go back further, Anpu or Enpu. So you have Lord Yama, Enpu, the Greeks, or the Greek. You have Hades. Hades, all right? So there are multiple lords of these realms. And in Christianity, the lord of the underworld is who? Satan. You see how they all go hand in hand and they all talking about the same thing? There's some type of fire or some type of realm beneath the planet, torture, torment, purgatory, purging. You get a second chance, but you got to go through this hellfire first, whatever they want to call it. So there are different religions and walks of life, but everybody seems to be talking about something under your feet. You want to know what's so interesting? A lot of people walking around with crosses on their neck. They call them unks. And they're saying there's no such thing as hell. They made it all up. But then you subscribe to ancient Egyptian mythology or ancient Egyptian sciences or texts and things like that, and you're not understanding that the Egyptians believe in hell. So you got to make a decision. Which one are you going to do? Then y'all using Hindu words. You're using Buddhist words like chakras and all kind of stuff, mantras, all kind of yoga, yogi, everything like that. Do you know what they really believe in? Because y'all trying to put the Christians down for believing in hell, but y'all believe in groups of people's religions and you're integrating their religions and you don't know that they believe in hell. You understand? And that they say that not only when you leave your body, you're going to go to different places. They say that there are lords that take you from your body or have servants, because Lord Jama got. And the servants take you from your body. And my bad, y'all, I got a call. The servants take you from your body and put you into another realm. You understand that? So people would need to know what they're talking about. You with me? So all of these communities are all talking about the same thing. They just call it different things. All of them have a god or a hierarchy, a council. All of them have lower beings, all right? All of them have higher realms, lower realms. I just showed you the 7 in Hinduism, and the 7 lower in Hinduism, that matches with the 7 higher, or the 7 heavens, or 7 samawat, or 7 levels above in what do you call it, the Islam, and the lower levels in Islam, or the 7 gates. They're all talking about the same thing. Okay, even Hades itself literally is saying the underworld, or the unseen realm, all right, or the undetected realm. You see, so all of these things jump around and they're interchangeable with one another. Okay, we had to get that clear first. Now let's get into it. So I was one of those people who thought hell was just a state of mind. I used to go around saying that when I was younger. I said, yeah, hell is a state of mind, because I heard about it. I heard Dr. Melikazi teaching and all this other stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's all it is. And then I started astral projecting as I got older. And from my astral projections, I was able to experience certain things. Some of the first things I started to experience was that sleep paralysis, okay? And being able to witness and bear witness to certain beings and the existence of certain beings called demons and things like that. Now, again, I was one of those people say, oh, no, hell ain't real. It's just in your mind, all of this stuff. But once I started having those experiences, no, I started to know more about reality. So one experience in particular, this had to be about 2021. I was laying down on my floor. Okay, so normally when I go to rest, this is how I would lay. I would cross my feet and I would stretch my arms out like this, and I would lay like that on my back. That's how I would normally rest. Okay, I still rest like that to this day. Okay, I left my body, meaning I astral projected. How do you do that? How do you do that? I know we get into it. Just keep walking with me. I'm showing you certain things piece by piece, but I have to show you different things before you get there. You see what I'm saying? So if you're listening, I'm warning you, putting you on point, giving you gems all at the same time. So nobody can say they weren't told about certain things and who you could encounter, certain things that you might encounter. Okay? So I astral projected, meaning I left my body. Okay? So I went outside of my body. When I went outside of my body, there's something that I call the current. I don't know what it's actually called. I don't know if it's actually called something. But when you astral project, there's a current, meaning it moves you around. You don't always just control your body. So I projected out of my body, and the current grabbed my being. And when the current grabbed my being, I was moving like this. If you can imagine a carousel or a Ferris wheel, I was moving like that. So I was going down and up and down and up around my room. And then I went through my ceiling and I saw the sky and everything. And I was still going down and up and down and up. And then eventually the current, when it got to going toward the down direction or downwards, it dropped me off. And I went through my roof and through my flooring. So my body is here. I went through my floor. Everything down here was darkness. So I didn't see anything at first, okay? So I went through the floor, and now I'm falling, okay? How I know I'm falling? I can literally feel it. Like if you were to run or put your head out of a window when your car is moving, I felt the air, okay, of falling. So I'm falling. When I fell, I went through different levels. How I know I went through different levels? Because I came in through their skies and I went in through their grounds. All right? Some of the skies look like this, where you had the moon. Some of them had multiple moons, and you could see the stars in the background. All right? In the beginning, when I was first falling, all I saw was suns, different types of suns, bright lights. As I kept falling lower and lower through those realms, I would see the moons, and it got from the light blue down to a darker blue, navy blue, and then the last sky was damn near black, and there was smaller lightings, okay, dimmer lightings. And then I was falling for a while in complete darkness. I couldn't see anything. And then eventually, remember, this is all astral projection. It's not a dream. There's a difference. You may not know the difference yet. You keep walking, you will. All right? Eventually, I hit the ground. What ground? I don't know what ground. I just know what ground is. So whatever I hit, that's what it felt like. It did not hurt when I hit this. It didn't even feel like I hit it. It felt like I was falling until I got to a certain point, and then I was just there. Does that make sense? If not, don't worry, we keep going. All right. But I was falling. I remember falling, and then I remember being on that ground. So I don't remember an impact. I feel like I entered into the reality through traveling this way. Okay. So when I hit there, again, keep in mind, everything is still dark. Do I see the ground? No. Do I feel the ground? Yes. My Umi used to have these huge bricks of amethyst in our house. It looked like this. Okay. We used to have huge amethyst bricks. Okay. About as big as that. Okay. I used to hold them in my hand. That's how the surface of the ground felt. Not sharp as in it'll cut you, but rugged. Okay. All of this happened within 5 seconds. When I hit the ground, everything from me hitting the ground to leaving that reality, that was a 5-second thing. Okay? Now, the falling, all of that took a little longer. But when I hit this ground and I was in this reality, listen, not only did I feel the rough and ruggedness of the ground, what I'm about to say might sound a little alarming to certain people, whatever, so trigger warning. I heard people screaming. And the type, okay, you have to imagine yourself in the middle of a football stadium. Okay, so let's say you're in the middle of the field. All right, you see how, or you remember how, or those of y'all who've been to football games, y'all know how it sounds to hear people when they cheer? Okay, replace the cheering with agony. I have to say agony because it didn't sound like they were necessarily in pain. It sounded like if you were trapped in a box, if somebody was trapped in a box, right? And there was no way out. And they knew that there was no way out and they tried everything that they could, but they couldn't escape it. It seems like those final yells in that movie where you hear people scream out, right? It's in agony. So everybody was doing that. So it didn't sound like human beings yelling at first. It sounded like a train. So my first thought was I was hearing a train, but then I heard I could hear that it was voices. It just took a while for me to make out what I was hearing. I've never heard anything that chaotic before. And I only heard it when I made contact with the ground. I didn't hear it when I was falling. I don't even remember hearing the wind. I remember feeling the wind when I was falling. But when I hit that ground, it was if I make the sound, y'all niggas gonna think I'm trolling. I can't make the sound because they're gonna think I'm trolling. The way it sounded is like, man, that shit is unbelievable. So I'm not gonna make the sound. Just imagine a train made of voices and you put your ear right next to the horn when the train blares it, and then drop the frequency of the blare from a high pitch to a low pitch. And then you have to add the environment was open. I felt that the environment was open, so it resounded. I was in chaos. The sound enough felt like hell. Okay? That wasn't enough. So there is a heightened sense of awareness that you have when you're astral projecting. I will put that out there. Okay? So keep in mind, I just hit the ground. Yes, I have a body. Yes, I'm able to feel things. And people, especially you Christians, I bet I hear nothing because y'all believe that after you leave your body, you're going to be able to be tormented. In order for you to be tormented, you have to have some type of nervous system. Okay? So you know that the astral body exists. You just don't say it. You believe that there's something called a spirit body that you'll be able to experience the pleasure of heaven and wine and, you know what I'm saying, honey. It sounds all good, don't it? You forgot that you need a brain to experience all that. You forgot that you need to be able to see stuff. And if somebody's going to be burned in hell, you forgot that they're going to need a body to be burned with. It would be counterintuitive for God to take us out of our body and we can't feel shit. Be like, oh yeah, please send us to hell. And we just sit there in the fire, we chilling because ain't no okay, so you know that there's another body, don't you? Or at least you believe it. Okay, so then your Bible speaks about the astral body, and it does have sensory input compartments. It does have a nervous system. How do I know this? From experience. Some shit can't hurt outside of the body. Okay. When I hit this ground though, it didn't hurt. Again, I think it's because I went through a portal. And the portal probably wasn't nothing but right here, above the ground. You see, I'm explaining to you, so that wouldn't have hurt. It would have just been me entering into that reality. Okay, however I came through. Okay, so keep in mind, I'm on the ground. It's a rough and rugged ground. I remember thinking it feels like amethyst or quartz. Okay, so it's tough, but it feels like if you were to knock on it, it's a little hollow. I know it's a little weird, but keep in mind that, right? So while I'm there, I hear this sound. I felt that I was being enclosed upon. What was I being enclosed upon? I don't know exactly. Here's what I envisioned. I envisioned beings that were aggressive. Okay? I have to, they're big, they're bulky, and they are aggressive. That's all I know. I don't want to draw too much and make y'all think I'm trying to pull on other people's imagination. This is what I saw in my mind's eye. All right, and they curse, if that makes sense. Like they curse, like not human being English language curse words, but the way they sound or sounded to me was like they came in immediately. Like, okay, if you can imagine, if you drop a piece of bread in the middle of some birds and ducks, how they do that, how they swarm in, that's how these beings came in. There were 12 of them. How do I know they were 12? I didn't count them. This is why I'm trying to explain that there's a heightened sense of awareness. When you astral project, you'll know things like that. So I knew that there were 12 of them. Notice I'm not saying 19. I'm not trying to sound like these are the 19 angels of hell, none of that. I counted 12 with my senses. The moment that I felt that they were rushing in on me, like you could feel the presence, I clipped myself or switched myself back to my body. So I deleted myself from there and brought myself back to my body. I call it a switch. I don't know what else to call it. Right? So when I got back to my room, I sat up. Right? And I was breathing fast. And I remember I made this statement. I said, man, I would have been mad as hell. And then I laughed because of the word hell being used. It felt like a pun. But then I stopped laughing. And then I felt this wave. If I wish I don't want to drag this stuff out because I know people are gonna be listening back to it, and I know you're gonna be wanting me to get to the point. I felt sorrow, and the sorrow that I felt was for people. And actually, while I'm telling y'all this, it's been like maybe 9 times where I don't wanted to break down and cry. And so if I bust out crying, just know it's because of the experience. I just remember the people, and the people, they don't have faces to me. I just remember I remember feeling them, and they are aware of what's going on. So it ain't like when you might think, oh, their time is gonna be different. No, they are aware of the agony of being stuck until whatever happens, whoever opens the gates, whatever. And whoever these beings are, I done seen them multiple times, experienced them multiple times. They abusing them people. It ain't just they there. They was there to grab me because human beings ain't supposed to be there. I know that. That's why I jumped back to my body. So after I made that little pun on accident, right, I felt sorrow, and I asked the question. And this is where my teaching started to change from, because I used to teach the brothers about hell being a state of mind and all that. No, my teaching changed from my experience. I went down there. I know where I went. Okay, I traveled through different realms. I didn't say I just went through my floor and I didn't notice. I didn't say nothing about no fire. As a matter of fact, it was cold. Okay, I didn't say nothing about no fire or none of that. But where I went, people are there. Okay, I astral project all the time. I know the difference between a daydream. I know the difference between a dream. I know the difference between sleep paralysis. Okay, I actually left my body. The current sent me down. I didn't say, ooh, let me go and see if hell is real. I wasn't thinking about that. Most of the time when I get out of my body, I go and visit my peoples. All right, I travel around the earth plane, or I go outside of the earth plane, leave here. This time the current sent me there. It's almost as if they wanted me to see it. It's almost as if I'm supposed to tell people, no, we always knew what hell was. I don't know why these spiritual people out here just saying this stuff, possibly because you don't have the experience. Okay, well, let me level with you. I used to say the same thing y'all say. You're wrong. Hell is real. And if hell is real, ain't no telling what else the fuck that these people talk about in that Bible is real. Jesus could also be real, just not how they done presented it and painted it. But I'm less concerned. I would be less concerned about how the fuck they painted the nigga. My thing would be to come in contact with him and whoever the angels would be. So I think that they do that on purpose. They'll grab certain ones of us to show us certain things so we can come back and say, listen, you saw how I was able to articulate that situation? Notice I didn't say, yeah, and the devil was sitting there and he talked to me and had pitchfork. I didn't use none of the normal commercial shit. I told you in detail, and I done told this story over and over and over again, recounting this experience. That place is real. At least one of them. All right. Now, I'd have been to multiple places like that beneath your earth plane, and they all are pressurized. They're all, meaning it got, well, I think that's what it means. They got heavy pressure, heavy pressure. They all are either dark. I've been to the places that had flames too. And I'm talking about you, it's so hot you can't breathe, like humid. You see what I'm saying? And people are there. So people are, when they leave in their bodies, I think people are being snatched and pulled down beneath the earth plane. And I think it's because they're too dense. And it may be like, okay, you may have to be cleaned before you can, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I wouldn't sit here and just make this stuff up to you, though. I think that the key is you suffer now, you rest later, or you rest now, you suffer later. When people are being, look, I'm a messenger. Okay, you got messengers, then you have what they talked about in Al-Quran as the messenger deniers. All right, I'm a messenger. I say certain things based on what I experience. I want people to know these things just so they can know or have the opportunity to maybe experience it themselves. I wish each and everybody that's here could have an exposure to truth, how I've had exposure to truth, because it sounds a lot easier to explain to just say hell is a state of mind. But I done been shown hell so many times that I literally woke up and asked them, like literally either in a dream or in an astral projection, I'll come back and I'll ask them, I'll say, why y'all show me again? Like, haven't you shown me hell? Why y'all keep showing me hell? And the only thing I can reason that they keep showing me is to just tell people that this shit is real. And then I do my best to say, okay, it seems like you got to let go of a lot of things. You're going to have to break vices. You're going to have to stop. You're going to have to heal your mind. You can't be lust-based. You can't be trapped in pornography. Y'all, that's all I'm able to see is like everything else they try to tell me. These things actually do fill people up with, and they become dense with all of these ornaments of gold, like the Quran speaks about, ornaments of gold. Okay? Ornaments of gold, I think it's called zukruf. That's not real. All right? It's fake. It's made up. But they make people think that it's a real thing. You're gaining riches and all that other stuff, but you're gaining weight, excess weight, and you're abandoning the things that you may be supposed to be doing while you're here. Any questions so far? So that's one of my experiences. I had multiple experiences. One of my experiences was I was in a long hallway. Okay? The hallway was tall. All right? Let me see if I can draw it the right way. So this was the hallway. The door and everything was tall. This is the ceiling. These are the walls. This is the hall. And this was a doorway. Okay? So the door was open. All right? And this was me. And I'm wandering down this hallway, literally, because I'm floating. I'm not even walking. So I'm floating down that hallway. And as I get closer, there's a smoke, right? That's about right here. Everything else here is orange light. If you could imagine, if y'all ever like been at a music video or, I don't know, maybe not the best music. Okay, when you look at the city when a city got fog over it and you can see the city lights, but it's like blurry. Okay, because the fog is covering it, it's like that. There was a blanket of smoke over an orange lighting that was flashing, flickering. So I thought, okay, this is a fire of some sort. I'm floating down this hall, tall ass room, and I get through the door, and the gravity immediately pulled me down. And again, I have a strong mind. That's why I have to tell y'all there are different valves, if you want to call it that, or gateways or pockets that, especially if you want to start talking about astral projection, I think that it's important to let people know about, because some of y'all are not me. Most of y'all are not me. So I don't think most people would have been able to go to hell and come back. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't just, I wouldn't have been able to outfly them. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been able to get up and outrun them, whoever those beings were. Okay? So a lot of times, I think that it's important to put people on notice. If you astral projecting, you got to know about what that current is. You got to know that that shit might pick you up and send you somewhere. And if you end up somewhere you're not supposed to be, you got to know how to get back to your body. You got to know all of that, which is why it took more time for adepts to learn those types of sciences than just somebody saying, oh yeah, I'm going to teach you how. And then they throw you into some shit you don't know what you're doing. And you might get caught out there. That's a reality. All right. Again, not to scare nobody. I'm just telling you the truth. So I went to gravity pulled me down. And I'm strong, so I'm able to raise up beyond it. But it was too strong. I started to call on the tones, the only tones I could think of, yeah, noon. And as I called on the tones of yeah, noon, a green light appeared in the doorway. I'm down in the up under the smoke area, but I saw a green light start to appear, and the green light functioned as a portal, a vortex that pulled me up out of it. And I was able, and then I came back to here and I said, y'all just showed me hell again. I know hell was down there. You see? So there are a lot of places that are like that. You know what I mean? Where there's strong gravity, there's pressure, and then I've met certain types of beings. Okay? The main beings are like this. They're bulky. Okay? Some of them got arms. I've seen some of them with arms that stick out. You know what I'm saying? Like this would be their body, like normal. You said that they got their legs, but some of them got like extra arms and shit, like they mangled and deformed. Some of they don't have faces sometimes. Sometimes their faces look like this, like it's wrapped around itself. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. But one thing that's common is they're abusive. They are abusive. I saw this one time, literally one of my dreams, okay, which turned into an astral project. I astral projected out of a dream. And when I astral projected out of the dream, I was face to face with Dr. Melikazi York, okay, and he had the hair, okay, literally like the hair down like this. He had on a blue outfit. My bad, Pops. Okay, just imagine. Matter of fact, this was him. We'll do Pop some diligence. Okay, he had the hair. I don't know. I probably made him look like Lisa a little bit. Either way, you just imagine it the right way. Stop worrying about the wrong thing. Just have it in your mind's eye. Okay, so he had his hair laid out on two sides, puffed out, and he had on a blue, like royal blue type Indian outfit. And we were going up some stairs. Okay, so I could probably illustrate the stairs for you, maybe. So the stairs went up like that. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get to the top of the stairs, they go over, then you going up some other stairs up there, then they go, then you go up some other stairs. Okay, so we were going up some stairs. All right. He walking, I'm walking behind him. And then he just started running. Right? So I'm trying to keep up with him. Right? And I'm fast, especially in that astral place. I'm like, okay, this nigga want to race. So I'm keeping up with him. He was always steps ahead of me though. And then we end up, I can do my best to draw this. We end up in this neighborhood, all right, where there was a band separating in the middle of a street, okay? It looked like trash and fire, all kind of stuff like that. And then the road kept going and, right? And then you have the houses and things like that. Okay, so you go to houses, all right? And then there were people out there, things like that. So Dr. Melikazi York ran straight up through the middle. So I ran thinking because he just ran. I wasn't even thinking about this. But when I got to this point, there was a boo, 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 boo. Like I couldn't move past it. So there was a wall of space, if that makes sense. That when you touched it, it felt like if you put water in a bucket and you put plastic over it and you touch the plastic on top of the water, it felt like that, kind of, but make the water more thick. But it was invisible. That's what I said. So I'm pushing past it to see if I said I can't get through this. But I'm seeing him, he's still running. I'm like, this ain't gonna beat me. So, and if you know, everywhere you go, then they be running. I don't know, he always on the move somewhere. But, so I'm pushing, I can't get through. So I'm like, I'm gonna find a way through. So what I did was I got on my hands and my knees and I started to look for like an entrance, knowing that this is some type of barrier. And I pushed my hands beneath it and I realized I could go beneath it. So I started to crawl up under it. If you can imagine this as a blanket of a type. So I started to crawl up under it, right? So now this is me. Here go the other side back there. and here goes the other side in front, right? So this is the band separating, okay? This is me crawling up under it, all right? And this is the other side. So I crawl up under that invisible barrier. When I get my face out of the other side, on my whole soul, this is what I saw. It's the same reality, but I saw these beings. They were big, buff, bulky. Some of them had different arms sticking out of their arms, okay? Some of them were small, some of them were skinny, some of them were fat, but they were all big, like bigger than human beings. If you can imagine elephants, okay, a little bigger than that, and they were bulky or skinny and bulky, like muscular looking, and some of them had 3, 4, 5 arms. And what were they doing? There was a line of people. It was the same world. It just, it looked different, meaning like it looks different, and now you can see the people. There was a line of people, and they were walking down a hill through a gate into what I could see as hell. And the gate looked like a tunnel. What was the tunnel? I don't have any idea. What was happening to the people? These motherfuckers were picking people up, slamming them on the ground, and beating them. And then after they were done, they had to get back up and walk right back in line and keep walking. Sometimes they'll run through and just punch people out of the line. Came through blitzing. That's I noticed that it's reality. It's what I saw. They were abusing these people. And these people were walking in a line from here. But I couldn't see them until I peeked my head through here. They were beating the shit out of these people, y'all. I'm talking about full blown. I'm not saying slap around, get in line. No, I'm talking about like the type of blows would blow. One of them would sever or burst asunder, separate the body of a human being if you were to deal with that type of blow. They were beating these people senseless. And then I'm giving you details. After they beat them, the people had to get back up and get back in the line and keep walking. You see what I'm saying? It's like they could feel it, but they weren't able to like just explode and die. You see, they still had to endure it. And that ain't the only time I done dealt with it. So I tell you, some of them, they done showed me that these motherfuckers will beat on you, because I remember one time, this had to be 2023 possibly, maybe 2023, 2024, one of those years. It was last year or the year before. I was laying in the living room of my wife's house, and they showed me a similar thing. There was a line, but they were walking through the living room. And all the people had on white, at least is what it appeared to be, because it kind of had that hazy appearance, but I could see them. All the people had on white, and they were being led downward, walking down an inclined plane, all right? And there were some beings, I didn't really see them, but they had on different colors too. These beings had on like colors. Some of them had on red, some of them had on green, some of them had yellow, but they were beating people. And the way I got pulled into that realm was through sleep paralysis. And this is how I don't want to say woke up in it, but this is how I woke up in it. Sleep paralysis, same living room and everything. They were beating like on me. I was laying on my side, kind of on my stomach, where I had my phone, and I went to rest. All I remember was getting punched in the head and the back. It hurt. Like, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And something, I said, what the fuck? And I look around, and the beings is laughing, and they punching people. And the people is walking, and they going down into one of the chambers. So one of my main things, because some of y'all probably got different questions. This shit don't scare me. This shit don't do none of that. My main question is, who the fuck? This is my main question. Who the fuck gave these beings permission? Because I done heard all about the God, all that, the Jesus. Who gave them permission to do this shit? If these beings exist, then there's a possibility that God in them exists too, right? So then God in them, they let them do that. They stand by and they watch it. Again, There's dreams, there's sleep paralysis, and then there's the ability to get up out of your body and traverse the planes. I do all of those, including lucid dream. So what I'm telling you was not, these were not lucid dreams, these were not dreams. These were astral projection experiences, detailed, and I'm conscious. And I'm intentionally exploring. And y'all, man, they lied. Meaning the people who be talking about this shit, either they lied or they only talking about one side of it. Okay, there's more to it. That shit is a place. Places. And it's right here. It's right here. If you were able to do this and pull that back, then you'll see it. It's right here, like in the movie Constantine. And then if there's a lower level here, then there's a lower level there. There's a higher level here, there's higher levels there. Don't think that only because you went up in higher levels, that's all you're going to encounter nice people or good beings. There are demons up there in them realms too. All right. Now I know we want to get to the questions, y'all, but I just want to tell you, let's do questions. Cause we'll be here all night talking about hell. It's a real place, right? People who saying that it's not a real place. One, automatically, you know they don't have the experience now. They just don't have the experience. Two, you know that they're lying because you would have had to discover every corner of the universe by now to be able to say, nigga, I looked everywhere and I can't find hell. So you can't say the ancient Egyptians, everybody since the beginning of recorded literature or doctrine made it up just because you don't know what it is. So Christians, y'all are on point more than you think. All right, I know they be trying to get on y'all about that, but nah, but that shit real, and it's interesting too. Like even when you say narak, okay, or nar, all right, naraka, like that Hindu thing I was telling y'all about, the word nar being fire. If I say naruk or narak in Arabic, it's saying your fire. So even if it's your hell that you put yourself in, that shit is real. All right, questions. Have you experienced any high realms yet? Yeah, we can talk about that. All that's going to be spoken about. Yes. Earth is hell or hell is under it. Both. From my experience, it's both. And then there may be so many more corridors, dorms. You know what I mean? Imagine this is the system. And it could be multiple places inside of that system in different levels. And each of those levels got rooms. You see what I'm saying? So listen, I don't know how many hells there are. All I know is I didn't experience enough of them to the point where I told y'all I didn't experience so many. I come back and I ask them, why are you still showing me this? What do you want me to? So I think they want me to tell people. So I do. Every time I get the opportunity, I tell people. I say, hell is real. Be cautious. Watch your thoughts. Watch what you do to people. Make sure you get your heart clean. If you got people that you done wronged, you need to go and make that right with them. All kind of stuff like that. Because last thing you want to happen, from what I'm seeing, is to cross over that threshold, and all these people on the internet don't mean anything. They won't be there. Same way when you're dealing with sleep paralysis, the motherfuckers do not be there when you're dealing with them demons. You see what I'm saying? You letting them pamper you after the experiences, but you know you encountered demons during sleep paralysis, and you try to push it away from your mind to deal with the illusionary realm because it feel good when you cross back over here. No, you still gonna have to deal with that. That's what I'm seeing. Somehow there could be a possibility that there's another version of yourself experiencing this reality, and that imprint still exists. After all the energy that we were talking about, all that dies, there still could be something else. So the last thing you want to do is you be in that same type of environment when it's time for you to cross over and you can't come back. Isn't it a grace that you have sleep paralysis, you're able to encounter them demons, but you can wake up, you can come out of it? What about the people who passed away in their sleep and they were encountering that, and they're still encountering it, and it doesn't end until the whole of this realm is imploded or shut down? It doesn't end for them. What else? How do you set a switch to come back to the body? Good question. I think, well, if you can bring that question to when we actually do the how to leave your body, when we do the how to leave your body, bring that same question, because that aligns with the actual astral projection part. Heaven on earth with the woman, of course, but something different. What do you mean by that? Have you ever fought a being? What are our defensive skills? Yeah, I've fought them a lot of times. Uh, it depends on the state you're in. You can't fight some of these beings in their like natural environment. Some of these beings are too strong. Like sleep paralysis, whoever these demons are, when you're trying to push them off you, I told you that all it does is if they push back and you trying to push, you keep pushing, it's gonna burn your fingers. Smokeless fire beings, I've encountered them. I know what they mean when they're saying that. Because they burn when you touch them, and they're smoky, as in they're not just like solid. Okay, there's a type of watery liquid gases type feel to them, and there's a fire to them, and they're strong. So you can't fight them there. You got to leave that state. If not, then you're subject to whatever they do while you're in that state. Other than that, yeah, I caught plenty demons lacking. It's hard though. You're not gonna really kill them demons. You gonna get them up off you. But the best thing to do if you in a realm surrounded by demons, not try to prove that you hate what do you call it, Hercules. Get back to your body. Get back to your body. That's what I would suggest. All y'all who listen, don't play them games. Don't listen to these people. If you find yourself in one of these realms and you encounter these beings that live for war, and they fought people for probably trillions of years, and they just do that, your little human being mind won't even know what happened. You understand? So if you got to get them up off you, get them up off you. Get back to your body is the ultimate goal, because they can trap you, grab you, snatch you up, and you won't be able to do shit about it. And then people be like, what happened? He passed away in his sleep. That happens to people. Or at least what I was taught, and I didn't experience enough to think that that's the truth. Remember when I mentioned that I experienced sleep paralysis inside my dream, and you said you experienced that as well? Why does that happen? I don't know why it happens. You think we fallen angels on this earth plane? I don't know who y'all are. I'm not that person that's gonna answer those questions. That'll be a lie. I don't know who you are. I don't know who we are. You understand? To put us in a group. That's for you to figure out. How do I start astral projecting? We'll get to that. Astral projection is coming. Keep coming to class. And that's not just for y'all to show up. Don't think I'm going to drag this out for another 2 years. Say, keep coming to class. We'll be there probably this week. So religion is a safe route. That's touchy. Maybe I need to do a class on that. Is religion a safe route? Well, we'll see. That's touchy though, because I'm still learning what some of these things are from experience. I think it's a safe route as in it gives you a foundation to search for more with this reality. But if you just get caught up in belief, I think ultimately the end result will be the same. I don't think belief is enough to get you up out of this thing. If there's an ascension and descension that takes place after you leave, I don't think religion gets you to ascension. I think religion points you in the direction of science, and I think science gets you to ascension. Notice how I'm speaking on hell from perspective, all right, and experience. Not just something that I learned from reading a book. I think that's what helps me not only talk to y'all, I think some of y'all can hear the sincerity in my voice when I'm speaking about it, and it may push you in the right direction. I don't know, Faze wouldn't just sit here and make this up. Even if you trust it, okay? If you're going to trust something, then let it be me then. And I'm telling you the truth. I've experienced these things, these beings, and I'm rebellious. However, when you cross over that threshold, it's just you and whatever else is there. And I'm put yourself in position to not have to deal with them. So I'm telling people now, cut them vices now. I think the attachment to this plane is you telling them that you don't want to leave. So all these things, people setting themselves up, saying you don't want to go. Blue Lotus keeps you here. People telling people, take Blue Lotus. Blue Lotus was something that people took. You go read the Homer epic, okay? Or I think it was the epic of Odysseus, right? You go read that. Them Lotus eaters, they forgot their mission and they got left. You go watch Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. They got lost. They got left. They lost time. They forgot their mission when they started eating the lotus flower. The lotus flower is weed. The lotus flower is shrooms. The lotus flower is pornography. The lotus flower is sex. The lotus flower is you're saying, I'm not ready to go. You're like your parents come and get you and you still playing with the toys. Does that make sense? Again, everybody that's here, I'm only giving you formulas and ideas that you can see for yourself if you're ready. You won't be able to do this if you're not allowed to anyway. You see? So I'm not telling anybody, this is what it is, you got to believe me. I even said, listen, if you're going to trust, go ahead, trust me. I'm not saying you will know this just because I'm saying it. I'm saying it is the experience that allows me to know it. So when people talk about certain things, I know what they're talking about. And I know when they're just running their mouth and leading people astray. That's when I'll jump in and say, that's bullshit. You don't know what that is. Spiritual this, define it. Define divine. I know what all that means beyond the definitions. But I'm saying, how are you going to have the conversation about it if you don't even know what the definitions are? You haven't even taken time to care to make sure that you know what you're saying. And it's clear when I ask these people these questions. You see? So they don't need to be leading anybody. Does it mean anything that my name is Malik? You tell me. Got to clean that DMT machine, which is the pineal gland. Okay, cool. Have you ever considered talking about Saturn with the hexagon, black cube, or anything, Antarctica? I haven't considered talking about that. I think it's interesting that Saturn has that hexagon on it. That's it. I don't know why they put it there. If somebody put it there, I have to ask them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you want me to do? Make up stuff? Yeah, Saturn is that because it's a black box, and the black box is the Kaaba, and the Kaaba takes you all the way back to the hexagon, and the hexagon, I don't know that. You understand? So, yeah, I think it's interesting. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know why it's there. People notice that they stop at that it's a shape. How did it get there? Who put it there? You understand? Why is it actually there? Don't just tell me that there's a shape on. There's also a red spot on Jupiter. Nobody talks about what that is. Is that the devil's living room? You understand? So I don't do that. Antarctica is a continent. You want me to talk about Antarctica? Reminds me of Dante's Inferno. Exactly. The Odyssey by that Greek writer. Exactly. Homer. That's what I said. Just the Homer epics. I used to get sleep paralysis every night. Not so much. Why did it stop? I don't know why it stopped. It's possible you change certain habits. How do we build up strength to come back to the body? All of these are astral projection questions. We getting there, though. We getting there. Could that be related to being in a coma? Could what be related to being in a coma? Faze be trying to squabble up with demons. Listen, I be trying to get the fuck on. I do squabble up, but I'm smarter than that. I'm not trying to get caught out there. Okay, listen, the reason why I warn people so much about being caught out there is because there's been a few times where I almost did. You can feel it. There's a tug sensation that happens in the back of your brain. Like they showed you in the movie Matrix when they unplugged them. I done felt that before. I done felt my heart being pulled away like a layer, a sheet of paper. I done felt that. And I literally done got messages to myself saying, get back to your body, get back to your body, get back to your body. So I tell people, listen, hey, if you in them type of situations and you surrounded by any of them demons, or man, get the fuck up out of there, because why you even there? What do you want with them? That's their home. You see what I'm saying? You ain't gonna run into a bunch of demons in Samawat, as they call it. You ain't gonna run into a bunch of jinn and you up there taking al-Isra wa Miraj like they did with Rasulullah Muhammad, okay, or going on a night journey of ascension. You ain't gonna they ain't run into no demons. You see what I'm saying? He ran into higher ascended masters, talking to them, explaining them to angels, talking to him about the hour and things like that. There wasn't no demons telling him to run his pockets. If you find yourself in the middle of the hood at 3 a.m. and you got all your money on you and you get robbed, that's on you. If you find yourself in the hood at 3 a.m., meaning you wake up and say, oh shit, get the fuck up out of there. Don't be lollygagging and run up on niggas and say, I'm hard. I'm tough. They gonna show you some shit. Those are the demons. So you see how that work in real life? Same thing over there. That shit is real life too. Is Jesus gonna have a wedding in heaven or on earth? What make you think I done talk to Jesus about that? I don't know. I don't know if he gonna do nothing. I don't know. Do you see crafts as you flying through the stars? I haven't seen. Well, huh? No, no, I haven't. Not that I remember. I don't remember seeing crafts flying through. I see normally, depending on my speed, there will be this cylinder shaped tunnel of light, or I think that's just because of how fast I'm traveling, or just stars, and I'll go to different places, planets. I'll come across planets, things like that, and I go into them in the different civilizations of people. We can talk about that when we get to astral projection. That's crazy. So if they trap you and you die in your sleep, that's what I think. That's what I think. Because you're trapped. You can't get back. I literally had an attack yesterday after the class in my dream. I'm in the fifth, 6 day of fasting doing the 21, but kind of late. I had a succubus or some shit. I can't believe it while I was fasting. Okay, cool. I had a dream that I was being taken up out of Earth's atmosphere into space without having any control. I saw pink and purple and I could breathe. Do you think that was a higher realm? I've seen that. I've seen that. It's possible that it was a higher realm. I don't know what it's called. Okay, I think we give it names until we're aware of who put them there and what they call them. Well, yeah, I've seen that. So yeah, you could say a higher realm. And I think also what helps you think it's a higher realm is the secondary color effect. Now, where you were, I don't know, because you could have been in hell. But, it could have been another one of those places. Because hell doesn't mean that it's just always agony. So I don't want to just say it. But I've seen that, and it was a realm that led me to another realm that wasn't anything negative. So, yeah, I've seen stuff like that. What else? What else? What do you think about someone being guided to a classroom of kindergarten age children by a dog when you ask a being in your dream, guide me to someone who knows more than me? Damn. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know about the dog probably just roasted the shit out of you. I mean, okay, okay. All jokes aside, they took you to kindergarten to it. To where they took you to the kindergarten niggas. Okay, then that's a good sign. And I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I wasn't there in the dream with you, but they kind of roasted you if you think about it. They basically said, "Yo, these little niggas no more." But yeah, maybe that was wisdom. It could have been wisdom. It could have been you. Did you look and see if you could find yourself? Because you might have known more than you. I don't know, bro. I wasn't there. That was a good resolve. There's plenty there for you to look into for yourself. What protection tactics can we put in place both on this side and in the dream state? Again, you asking a lot of astral projection questions. When it comes to stuff like whether or not you'll be, if you don't want to experience certain things like what I was just talking to you about, the core or the current taking you to hell and things like that, or lower realms, um, I would advise not astral projecting for one, because sometimes you can't control what that current does. It sounds easier than it is. You sometimes that current take you and you just be going, and then it stops and drops you off places. There's a current that people talk about even when they have out of body experiences. When they floating over their body, they say that something was moving them around the room. That's the current. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know. It could have something to do with the electromagnetic grid. I don't know. But yeah, if you don't want to experience stuff like that, don't astral project because you could still experience it. If you don't want to experience lesser realms, protect yourself by cutting out pornography. Cut pornography out of your diet. Stop opening them windows, especially in the mental reservoir hours or late at night. Okay, and it's not telling you to do it during the day. I'm saying, especially at those times, stop opening them windows, especially if you don't know what all comes with it. Get off of drugs. Okay, go through rehabilitation. There's nothing wrong with rehabilitation, even if you have to go through one of them centers or facilities. Rehabilitate oneself. Get off of them drugs. You need to have your mind or your mental, your brain functioning optimally. You need to be in control of your thoughts. Okay, that's a psychic self-defense. Again, a lot of this stuff will be answered in the actual astral rejection because that's what we're leading up to. So maybe a few more classes and we'll get to that. Or we could do that tomorrow. We'll see. Depending on how many degrees y'all ready for in between. I chose multiple characters when I came here. All right, we're going to take a few more minutes. All right, I don't want to have this video too long. The being trapped theory reminds me of the movie Insidious. Yep, Insidious and Inception. The classroom did seem familiar. They probably took you back to your class. It's all good. Is it weird that I've never had a bad dream? No, it's not weird. It's just you never had a bad dream. I'm just a visitor. I'm just visiting the planet, but you wouldn't believe me. I don't need to believe you. If you're a visitor, you listen, you'll be good. You'll be all right, regardless of who believe. I've astral projected and seen my father. I was in my room. He appeared to me as his younger self. Okay, cool. That's what's up. Okay, any questions? Do you advise sleeping under green light? Yes. Yes. Also be ready because shit could be annoying at certain times. You could wake up and you could feel irritated. I think it's because that green light also purges you. It doesn't just heal you and calm you or put you in that state of healing and a state of calmness and tranquility. I think it purges you also. So yeah, I do. I got a green light going in the living room. I've been suggested that. I did a class on YouTube with the brother Young Elder called The Science of the Green Light. You can go listen to that. Dr. Melikazi York taught the green light. The green light is associated with El Khidr. Okay, go look this being up. El Khidr, the green one. All right? And the green is associated also with healing and things like that. So yeah. Divination is against the word of God. Okay. On the subjunctive, on the subject of outer body experience, please look up Darius J. Wright, who speaks in depth of this subject. Okay, cool. Phase, you know how the spiritual community folks used to post that big red sun or planet, and they said it was Nibiru. I had a dream taking a nap, and I looked up and see it every. Listen, I think that was literally an effect of the atmosphere. I think the shit was the sun. And I think that's not abnormal when you look into like certain things, like when it's fire and stuff like that, smog or fog or smoke in the air, it'll affect how the light is shining through. I don't think that was Nibiru that they were looking at. You understand? I think it was the sun. Because Nibiru, if you see it, you ain't going to, the next day it ain't going to be there. That shit's still going to be right there. Also, Nibiru is said to have a cloak over it. So you ain't just going to be able to look and see it. It's cloaked, which means invisible. How did pornography become such a window to these realms? I don't know. Listen, I don't know. All I know is with my experience, I done felt one of them beings come out of that phone from one of those windows. And also, let me just tell you something. When you go to the, listen, look at how they got it, right? They say XXX. That's poison. You see what I'm saying? Y'all go to these windows, right? This is why I say stop the pornography. Stop watching pornography. You go to a window, they got this right over here, this suggestion over here, this over here, this ad pop up over here, da over here, things you ain't even interested in pop up over here, this, that over here, and you're looking for something, but you're being exposed to this. You don't think that's affecting your psyche? You understand that? So those are windows within themselves. Let it go. Let pornography go. Start there. You understand? If you still gonna do your thing, y'all do whatever. I don't want to be too graphic. Y'all still gonna do your thing, do your thing. Stop going to pornography. Because eventually you're gonna have to stop doing your thing too. Get your mind back in order. You see that? But you can see it though. You go to these sites, a lot of them sites is dark. Literally. Blacked out. You don't know what's behind here. Meaning not spiritually or ghosts or woo-woo. You don't know what type of subliminal messages are programmed in here. Because sometimes you'll go to a screen on a computer. You have to tilt it a certain way to see certain messages that be hidden. Subliminal messages on computers and screens. And I know this because I'm one of them cybersecurity studiers. I will say something. So when we would go to certain screens and we had to find certain things out, I learned this from my Umi especially. If you see a blank screen, it's never blank. There's a message there, but if you don't know how to find it, you ain't supposed to get through that window. So even when they get you to such or such 404 error, y'all see that type of stuff? No, that's not a blank screen. There's messages all up in here. but you got to know what angle to look at it from. Sometimes you got to look at it from this angle. Sometimes you got to change the. I'm telling y'all too much. What the hell? Nah, I ain't gonna get y'all. I ain't gonna get this shit away. Yeah, exactly. How she just said, shh. Yeah, look, I agree with you. What the hell? I thought about it. Like, what? Why am I telling these people this shit? Hell no. All them summers I had to sit there and study and look and find and tweak and make errors. I ain't gonna get that shit. You could pay me. No, just playing. We'll probably do a class on it. But no, that's the real shit. You always got to do something. There's always something you can do. Nothing's ever locked. Damn, I ain't supposed to be running my mouth. That's why they don't tell me nothing. They just said it. Why we don't tell you shit? Yeah, I know you don't tell me. They don't tell me that because they know I'm going to just come and tell y'all. I just be running my damn mouth. Yeah. We have to do a class on that, y'all. Just remember, nothing's ever locked. Y'all ain't finna have the CIA tomorrow. We got them. We got them. No, y'all don't got me. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing. I know y'all over there laughing. Shit, Bill and them laughing right now. They know what I'm saying for real. Nothing's ever locked, is it? They like, yep. They sitting there with their coffee and everything. You know they tune in. Anyway, they love it. I got CIA agents probably love what I do. They love it. They see what I'm doing. They see me challenging me. I'm probably one of their favorites. CIA agents. FBI, they know it's for real. Ain't nothing ever locked. Mm-hmm. I found the owl in the dollar bill before the internet. How old is you? You know how long? You know how old the internet is? The hell? That nigga 99. I found the owl in the dollar. What the fuck? Nigga ain't gonna finish that sentence till we done. What the hell? Hey, y'all let me know what he's saying. I gotta go take these kids to school. You ever been underwater while astral project? Yep. How did the water feel? It felt like water. I didn't know that's where you were going. It felt like water. All right, y'all. A few more. Y'all started asking me late night questions. What you said it was called again? Cybersecurity. It is called cybersecurity. The hell? That's what it is. Ain't no other word for what I do. Feels calm. I've been thousands of years underwater. Hey man, y'all gotta relax. I'm glad God guided me to your platform. Your messages are deep. I'm glad you got here. We're on our way somewhere. Can you speak on Bab and Baha'i? I've been pulled toward that in my studies. What is Bab and Baha'i? What is Baha'i? You know what Operation Often is? No, it's not like you're finna do a joke. That sounds like a dad joke. You might do be older than the internet. Because you know what Operation Often is? Nah, I don't know. Operation Often. Have you ever experienced any sort of beings entering your lucid dreams that attempted to keep you in them? No, I done had invaders though. I had somebody pop up in my dream. I remember this being like a medieval type setting. The nigga popped up in my dream and I felt it because, you know, you have certain type of capacity, mental capacity, subconscious capacity, conscious capacity. So I have a very high subconscious capacity, meaning if you're on the other side of the house and you crack your knuckle, I'll pick up on it type shit. So if you can imagine that, like while I'm sitting here, I can walk up and down the streets while I'm talking to y'all. I can envision the realm that I'm in, the city that I'm in, all of that. So subconscious capacity, mental capacity, all of that. So I'm in the dream. In the dreams, they're heightened. Whatever capacity you have is heightened. All right. The lucid dreamers know that because you have to have some type of intertwining consciously in these realms in order to control certain things, certain elements, which is all elements of the dream. So I'm doing my thing. I'm flying around. I'm being abnormal. I'm being a super being. And everybody's so surprised at what I can do. And then I felt this shift happen. I said, what the fuck was that? And I turned around in a direction that my senses were showing me. And there was a nigga, listen, my whole life, some of y'all ain't gonna know, y'all ain't gonna believe this shit. Good. Don't believe it. You'll have the experience yourself probably. And then when this nigga do that, you'll know I already told you the nigga did that already. Some old white dude was sitting on the bench eating an ice cream cone, nigga. Looking at me. just eating the ice cream cone, looking at me. Had white hair, old white guy. Could have been one of their CIA agents. But this nigga was just watching me. I said, yo. So I zoomed over to his ass, meaning like rose up off the ground and flew over to him. And I'm in front of him. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I said, why are you in my dream? That nigga starts, I can't remember, I put it in my notes. But he started talking about all kind of random shit, stuff about Islam, all kind of stuff. But I don't even know how the fuck he got there. And he was awake. And I was asking him that, I said, how are you awake in my dream? This is my dream. Everybody else is regular people. How the fuck did you get here? You see what I'm saying? So I done seen stuff like that happen. That shit blew me away. I don't even know how that ended. That's probably because it blew me away that much. I remember that nigga said a whole bunch of shit that I came back and wrote down in my notes. This was back in 2021, 2022. I don't know how the fuck that nigga got it. So I done had stuff like that happen here. A whole bunch of beings done popped up in my dreams before unannounced. Shit, I done popped up in people. What else? One time I was smoking, and I heard a dragon roar, but it was like he was hurting. Yo, you gotta stop smoking. You gotta stop smoking. You gotta stop smoking, nigga. That was a horn. Somebody blew the horn outside your house, nigga. I normally don't tell people stuff I wasn't there for, but that nigga heard the horn. Man, that nigga said, the dragon. Oh no. Nigga, put the blunt down. What the fuck? That's why I keep telling y'all, stop doing that, bro. I heard a dragon, it was hurt. Where the fuck would you hear a hurt dragon, nigga? What, you stay in New York? Where would you hear a hurt dragon? There are no hurt dragons in 2025, bro. Let you talking about Drake. You heard Drake? You were listening to Drake? What did I miss? Where's the function? Yeah, you heard a hurt dragon. That's a hurt dragon. The hell? That nigga heard somebody blowing the horn. You probably never went out there to see what the fuck they wanted either. Man, let me get out of here. This ain't Instagram. Y'all fucking up the content. Whack 100. Fucking up the content. You gonna be content. What else? Nigga Whack 100 be tripping. Is this you? Huh? January 5, 1969. Do I need to keep reading? How the fuck did you get that? Now we know how you got it. Huh? You told on Larry Hoover when he was 5. You been snitching, nigga. What the fuck? Can we physically be all right, y'all? We got to get out of here. It's about to turn this ain't Instagram. One more question. What else? One more question. What we got? After this one, can we physically be here and our soul or spirit be somewhere else and we not know? Yes, it's possible. One more question. We got to get up out of here. Let me scratch this nigga out, because that shit did piss me the fuck off. You gonna be, it's one thing to pop up in my dream, nigga. You sitting on a bench and you eating ice cream. I ain't never been crossed before, but I was crossed with Bill, whoever that nigga was. What else? Any other questions? I swear to God, I heard something out of this world. I can't really, nigga, you was smoking. You ain't finna, you could tell me anything. You can't start off by saying you was smoking, nigga. So I was smoking, nigga, and the fairy came to my window, nigga. Nothing happened. That just was some strong shit. That was just some strong shit. Shit. When is the last you encountered dragons? You been for real? I ain't never encountered dragons. I don't, this is today. This is today. We in today period. Y'all finna piss me off. I was just playing. But nah, I ain't never encountered no dragons, bro. I don't even think I would have problems with certain beings. Certain dragons might be an issue, but I think if I encounter a dragon, motherfucker gonna have a message for me. Like them karate movies. Cause what the fuck am I doing with dragons? Is that how did I get here? DMX, how did I get here? Well, let's see. I think we all know. We know how I got here. Can you? Okay, that's it. All right, that's it. Can you share dreams with others? It's possible. It's possible. All right. I love y'all. We just talk about what the hell. What is hell? I gave you some experiences, things like that. Make sure y'all like this video. Everybody, like this video, including you, listener that came after the live. Make sure you copy and paste the link, send it to people, or keep them in your notes. All right, keep the links in your notes with the title so you'll know where to go to if you have certain questions. Send it to people and comment. Make sure you comment what you want me to talk about because I look at them comments. All right. Other than that, we moving forward. I think this is our 9th class. We done did 9 days in a row. All right. If y'all want me to keep going, we'll keep going. All right. Peace in the Lamb is truly wonderful. Hadou Sashur, divine love. What the hell? Tell them I said that.